Hi everyone, my name is Jana Minoski-Smith, and today I just wanted to share something that I found to be really helpful that you can do with a student that gets stuck at a certain point in level 1 of Barton, and specifically if that student has gone through foundations and sounds first. That's what I'm going to show here, how you can use the foundations and sound word cards to help scaffold the procedure and help that student get it so they can do it with just the tiles, which is what they're doing in level 1 in Barton. If you haven't done foundations and sounds with the student, you can do this using any kind of good cards that symbolize each sound that you're working with. And I will show in a different video that I'm going to make how you can make your own cards if you maybe can't afford or don't have foundations and sounds. And you can apply what you're seeing here to that, and I'll show you how you can do that and create your own little set and use it in the same way that I'm doing here. But let me go ahead and show you. I had a student who did foundations, and he really was very successful and passed through it with flying colors. And then we started level 1 in Barton, and he started having more difficulty as we moved through the lessons. We had to do a lot of practice of each procedure for him to understand, and I noticed he started adding sounds on the ends of the nonsense words or switching sounds, and it was pretty persistent. And I was able to use all the procedures, the correction procedures they recommend in Barton to help him all the way through lessons 1 through 3. But when we hit lesson 4 and we started doing break, replace, remove, those persistent issues kept coming up, along with the fact that I think it was just the words were being tougher to remember and to do correctly, plus adding all those steps in that procedure. So I decided to go ahead and pull back out my foundations and sounds cards and scaffold by using them first to do the procedures. So what I did here, this is the virtual platform for foundations and sounds. If you just have the kid and you're working with the student live, you can do this with the actual materials that you have on hand. But I laid out and I had reviewed with the student only the sounds that are represented in that lesson and procedure that we're going to do, just so we didn't clutter it up with everything. And then I went ahead and did the procedure first, but by using the sound cards instead of tiles. So as an example, in doing break, replace, remove in lesson 4, I said to the student, say ska, and then he would repeat ska, and I would use the gesture to have him say it slowly. So he would say ska, and then I would indicate for him to pull down the sound cards for that. And he already had learned these and was easily able to pull down and say s, k, a, and then touch and break apart. S, k, a. So he did the first part of the procedure. Then I would say, I'm going to change this to ah, touch and say the new sounds, and he would do sk, ah, blend slowly, ska, and then fast like a word, ska. And finally, I would say, now I'm taking away this, and he would touch and say k, ah, ka, ka. And that's what we did for all of the words that were in the lesson for that procedure. We did them just the same way using sound cards. And after we went through all of them, then we brought out the tiles, and you could go back to the Barton tiles, or you could just use the tiles here. And we did the procedures with tiles the way they are done in Barton. And my student, after going through it using the sound cards, was able to very accurately and much more easily repeat the correct word, bring down the different tiles, touch and say, take away the sound, or replace the sound, take away the sound. And it was just much easier for him to understand what he was doing with the procedure. So that's a tip I just wanted to share with you that might help if your student is getting stuck in some of these procedures, like break, replace, remove, or comparing two words, though that would be really easy to do if you're comparing two words with sound cards. But after you do a few of them, then very likely when you go back to the tiles, they would find it much easier. So I hope that helps. And again, if you don't have foundations and sounds, I have another video, and I'll put a link below that shows how you can make your own sound cards and use a platform called Jamboard to do a very similar thing if you're trying to help your student in phonemic awareness activities. All right, thanks, and hope that's a great help to you and helps your tutoring to be